Hello, this is Darren. This is my bread making. I'm going to try something different today. We're just going to use 1 teaspoon of yeast, and instead of all the sugar and the oil, well, maybe the oil, I'm going to mix the yeast into the water. Water's at about 113 degrees. I have a recipe that I've been using that makes decent bread, but I wanted to see, a friend of mine suggested using less yeast and seeing what happens. So this is the experiment. Instead of 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, it's 1. I'm not putting in a 1/4 cup of sugar. I am putting in the teaspoon of salt and the teaspoon of olive oil. I've also mixed the 2 flours. Instead of bread flour or wheat flour, I've got 4 cups of bread flour, 3 cups of wheat flour. Alright, so just gotta let this set for a few minutes and then we'll get going. Alright, the yeast is foaming up and bubbling a little bit, so I'm gonna go on. Less yeast, less activity in the yeast. So I'm going to add the salt, and I'm going to add the 2 teaspoons of oil, or the 1 teaspoon of oil. And I'm going to mix that up. Get it all in there. I'm going to start adding the flour. I pre-measured the flour, so I'm just going to add a 1/3 cup at a time, it looks like. That's what I grabbed. So we're just going to scoop it up. I'm going to put in 3 of these, and I'm going to mix up this first cup of flour. Okay, maybe it's more than a cup. Alright, so I've learned on the 5 or 6 times I've done this to mix it partially. Don't try to dump it all in at one time, which has never worked out for me. I did spoon and level the flour and pre-mixed it, so the 2 different flours are pretty well mixed together. You can see it's already starting to form a little bit of a doughy structure. I'm also shocked I haven't broken any of these wooden spoons doing this, because this still can get pretty heavy, and and I'm older, but I'm not weak yet, so I can force it through there. Well, relative to the flour, I'm not weak. I really doubt if anybody ever watches this video, because making bread is not very exciting. And this is the 3rd attempt at the video I've done. The other 2 were abject failures. Maybe this one will work out. The first one, when I tried to do the bread, I was holding the camera in one hand, which means at points I had to set it down so I could do this. And that did not work out well. Weird angles, all kinds of stuff. And the second time was Friday. I made dough for pizza, and well, the pizza turned out real nice, and the video went better because I have a claw thing now to hold my phone. But I tried to mix it. Instead of making 2 pizzas with the dough, I made 1, and it just expanded the oven tremendously. And plus, my pizza stone had some stuff on it, so when I opened the oven, it was like a cloud of smoke came flying out at me. Alright. Let's just do the rest of this. Alright, now I try to get all this flour incorporated into the dough before I put it under the mixer and the dough hook. As you can see, I'm not a very good mixer. It's flying all over the place. Oh well. It's my flour, it's my dough. It's my table and phone holder I have to clean afterward. Well, usually this incorporates a little better. Well, it's not too sticky. I just started using the 7th cup of flour on my bread because the normal recipe I have, it came out really nice with the 7 cups instead of 5.5 to 6.5 the recipe I use calls for. This is an experiment. I think I'm actually going to post this video online no matter how it comes out. Alright. Well, at least it's not too sticky. That's not sticking to my hands at all. Alright, so we're going to put it under the mixer. Dough hook, mixer. Put it down. Lock it. And see what happens. Well, it's doing what it's supposed to do. It's actually I may have to add some water to this. Maybe I needed more water when I cut out the other stuff. We'll see. Well, while that's going, I'm going to clean up some of the mess. Yep, told you, exciting video. Watching the mixer go round and round and each dough. Just hard to stay still with all the drama. leave it for a couple of minutes. I got my workspace cleaned off. All right. Whoops. Wow, that's a hard piece of dough. It is definitely not sticky. Alright, what I'm going to do is work it a little by hand. Put a little flour on the workspace here. Dump that. Well, at least if this doesn't work out, all I've wasted so far is $1's worth of flour and half penny's worth of yeast and some hot water. Because this is definitely a big hunk of heavy bread. Fold it a couple times. Alright, so now what I'm going to do is get a pan and we're going to test it. Well, basically, I'm going to oil it down a little bit. What I want to do is put it in here as a ball. Oil it a little bit. This is just butter spray. And we're going to proof the yeast, or proof the bread. Basically, I'm going to put it in the oven, and we're going to see if it rises. If it doesn't rise, just a big, heavy piece of flour and water that I'm going to throw away. Alright, so what we're going to do, I'm going to take the phone off. And I'm going to turn it this way, I think. So I'm going to go here over to the stove. I'm going to turn on the oven light. And it's going to sit in the oven for, I don't know, at least an hour. We're going to see if it rises. So see how big it is there? Come back and see how big it is in an hour. The exciting world of bread making. Okay, it's been about an hour and a half, and the dough has risen. So I did something right. Alright. Let's put the camera back. Now, we're going to take the dough, we're going to cut it in two, and put it in the bread pans and let it rise some more. So I'm going to punch it down. Ooh. That's nice. They said it would do that with less yeast. Not a lot of air. So we're going to fold it over a couple times. Make sure if there is any air in there, it's going out. I'm going to try to split this into two pieces. Well, two even pieces. That's not always easy. Okay, set that one aside. Work this one a little bit. if I can roll it out a little bit. We need it a little thinner. And I need to have more room, or have it a little longer here. Wow, this dough works well. Alright. That's just about right. About a 1/4 inch wide, most of it. It's not even all the way around. That looks good. So, I'm going to take the bread pan. I'm going to butter it. I'll butter them both while I'm standing here. I want to take this and I'm going to roll it. Roll it up. I'm going to place it into the bread pan with the seam down. That one's almost ready. Set that aside. Get the other piece. I've never actually gotten these two to be anywhere near the same size. Had a little air pocket in there. Okay. So we're going to roll this out. Get it about to the size I want. Roll this one up. Drop it into the bread pan. Now, the second rising. I'm going to put these back in the oven with the light for another hour and going to let them rise again. You can see they are not even. One is, the one on the right is going to be taller than the one on the left. Okay, it's been 45 minutes and the dough has risen nicely. The one has risen way more than the other one, but that's what I thought, you know, when I can't put them in there evenly. So what I'm going to do now is preheat the oven to 375. And then I'm going to put it in the oven for 35 to 40 minutes and we're going to have nice hot bread and hopefully it will look right on the inside. Alright, 375 and they're going in the oven. Oh, God. Gotta clean the oven again. I probably could have waited and let them rise a little more, but oh well. Alright, so they're in there. Oh, there's my bare feet. Just gotta wait. It's been about half an hour. And the bread's just starting to brown on top. So we're gonna let it go a little more. Oh, it's time to take them out. It's been well over 30 minutes, so. See, it's been almost 45 minutes since I started to put them in. So, gonna take the one with the handles first. Looks good. Sounds good. I'm gonna let it sit there for a minute. Gonna go back and get the other one. Really, I'm better at this with my right hand. There we go. close the oven. Come over here. Set it down. Two loaves of bread. Maybe one day I'll figure out how to get them the same size. Well, a scale would help. Scale's coming in later today. So, that looks like a good loaf of bread. Since we're down to half a loaf now, this will come in handy for next week. Get it out of the pans there. And it is hot. Alright, so 2 loaves of bread cooling. But I'm going to cut one open and see what they look like on the inside, since I have never done it this way before. So I'll keep it there. What do I want? I want the bread knife. Now, I usually don't cut these open until I usually don't start slicing until they're cool in the fridge, so in fact I'm going to put it back on the gripper. There we go. Oh, look where the fold was. Oh well, can't be perfect on everything. Oh, I got paper towels right here. So, still a little uncomfortably warm. That looks like a pretty good loaf of bread. It's cooked. I guess there's only one thing left to do. Cut another piece and see what it tastes like. Yeah, so this is why I don't like cutting it when it's hot. It's much easier when it's cold to cut them thin. So this is going to be a huge piece. Having a piece of hot bread without any butter. So let's get some butter on this thing. Oh, it does melt right in. Bread from the toast this morning. Okay. Well, tastes pretty good. If you look close, you can see the swirl from where it rolled. I think next time I'll put a little bit of sugar in it instead of leaving all the sugar out. But other than that, it worked well with the low yeast. And it just takes longer to do everything. See, the bread looks nice. All right. Whoops, sorry. Now I'm going to turn the camera around, so don't be afraid. All right, this was my first bread video, maybe my last one, but thanks.